Welcome to Alchemy. I'm Sheeana Leigh, and this is where we turn self betrayal into sovereignty, where we stop overgiving and start living erotically self led, where shadow becomes power, desire becomes devotion, and your body becomes your oracle. If you're done playing small in love, sex, or life, and you're ready for embodied truth, emotional depth, and conversations that actually change you and transform you, then you are in the right place. Let's begin. Today's episode, we are dropping into a softer and slower version and really sitting with the nervous system and integration and allowing your body to breathe. I believe that most women, in fact, most people, actually work a lot harder and faster than they need to. They overexert themselves, overcomplicate things, and don't actually seep truth and knowledge and wisdom deeply into their body, into their cells, into their knowing deeply and internally. I believe that women and people actually need to go softer and slower than we've been led to believe. And we have a choice to make changes gently without force, right? Of source and not of force. I say this very often. Now, I wanted to drop into a softer version around the nervous system and integration and resting because for the last 6 weeks, we've been together and traversing this relational arc and this pattern interrupt arc. Wow, that was a mouthful. And I believe that, yeah, we have to pause. We have to pause. We have to stop. We have to really dive into the body once we're doing this deep excavation work. We can't just always pick at ourselves like there's something wrong. And when we've been doing the deep work and putting it into place and really getting into like our healing and uncovering our patterns and our shadow work, I feel like we overexert ourselves in this realm and make healing our whole personality. And it really isn't about that. It is about softening, integrating, and allowing it to move you and be transformed by the work that you're doing. You have to remember that joy and pleasure is a part of our organic nature. That's who we are as beings. And this is what we want to return to and come back to. It's okay to rest and integrate and not make healing and perfectionism really overtake your whole life. So you're constantly looking at the muck and the bad things and the woundings and the pain and not actually truly living, which I see very often in my line of work. So we've done all of this deep diving work. We are sitting in this space now where you don't need any more information. You don't need any more knowledge and digging. It's like actually take a step back, take a breath, be with the body, and allow yourself to sit with it because most of the massive changes that drop in happen in the silence and the stillness and in the spaciousness. I don't even work back to back with women a lot of the times or with people a lot of the times. You need a pause phase where it actually just melts into your body and becomes something you are, not something that you do. So, for this little somatic drop in and pause in our deep work, don't worry, we're going to go deeper again over the next few weeks. But I'm going to invite you to do a 10 to 15-minute sort of somatic drop in to the body. And I'm going to give you some key pointers to do this and how to utilize simple somatic tools to really be within your body and feel the sensations, right? We talk about the sensational experience quite a lot, but what does that mean? So, first and foremost, I have actually invited you to track your bodily sensations quite a few times on the alchemy journey and really sit with the body and to feel what feels like a contraction, what feels like an opening. So, a couple of tools I'm going to give you to practice over this next week is the simplest of tools, but one of the most powerful tools, which is breath, the power of the breath, the power of the pause. I believe that most of us are not breathing deeply, powerfully, beautifully. And a good breath and a good life giving amount of time and spaciousness with your breath can change your entire life. Breathing deeper than the upper lung, breathing deeply into the diaphragm, breathing deeply into the belly, to the umbilicus, breathing deeply into the womb, even deeper down into the cervix and the pussy is chef's kiss. Number one tool that I use. I use breath work a lot. I use connected breath work, diaphragmic breathing, box breathing for regulation. And when I speak about regulation, I don't actually believe that there's this big psyop at the moment that we should all be placid and regulated and like mellow all the time. And I don't mean regulation in that sense. I mean regulated in the sense of your nervous system, your body, your endocrine system, your hormones are all working in harmony to actually have the capacity to sit in uncomfort and stretch and not leave yourself, really centering yourself and your sensation moment to moment and being with that without instant reaction and over explosion, right? I believe we need fire, we need passion, we need explosive moments. Like this is the art, and this is the truth of being alive. This is what we came here for. So I just wanted to side note that before I moved on to noticing your micro contractions. So, as we've been speaking, we have been delving into micro cuts. What does that look like? And micro cuts come with micro contractions. If you've been following along, you've been doing the micro contraction work and moving into these spaces where you feel your body close and you feel your body open. You feel the sensations in your body, whether they're fire or coolness or lightness, and you are able to articulate it in your body system. One of the things I love to do in my somatic work is to track both opening, closing, tracking desire and tracking obligation. So in your body, sitting with yourself and taking a few deep breaths deep into your chest, your diaphragm, your heart chamber, expanding out to all directions of the chest. And as you drop your breath down, expanding out right down till you get to your root, your cervix, your perineum, wherever you feel that base of absolute groundedness and pillar of magnetism within you. I feel like it's a magnetic pull. And as you do this, start to track and ask your body, where do you feel desire in your body? Like, what does it feel like? What sensations arise? What symbols? Some people see things, symbolism. What knowing arises within your body as you feel into desire? And also noticing where you feel obligation in your body. And obligation is huge within the body because we have a lot of self-perceived obligation and external obligation from our family dynamics, from the relationships that we're in, from society. So it's really interesting to see and feel like, where do I feel obligation in my body? And track that. What does it feel like? Is it dense? Is it hard? Where do you feel it in your body? Sitting with that for a moment. What symbols, what signs, what stories show up with obligation? And then as you're doing this, notice that both can coexist. One of the largest or the most asked question I get is, how do I know it's an authentic desire? And how do I know if it's a wound or a trigger or me repeating patterns? And the truth is to really sit with your body and the sensations and track what feels like a sensational yes and an opening, and what feels like a pulling more obligation denser energy. And once you start to track these two, you really start to become aware of your somatic body, like your feeling body, your sensational body, and start to grasp, right? It's not a knowledge based, logical based thing that we move into. It's deeper than that. It's more into the body, right? And I'm going to bring this back to, these micro moments of, should you reach out to him? Oh, a common one. Should I reach out to him? Sit with the body, sit with the breath. Is it a yearning and desire that is true and an opening, or is it coming from a more collapsed space? And once you start playing with these two polarities and these dualities within your body that we both have and we both hold, you start to really understand the mechanics of your own body and being. This is not something you can learn about and write things down and grasp on the mental construct. It's deeper than that. All of our relational patterns are deeper than that. All of our pulls and desires and callings are deeper than that. Some of my greatest callings in my life have been some of the most excruciating no's in my body, but I know it's true and authentic and a desire that I have to follow. And this is where it can get sticky. This is where I see most people start to get stuck, right? It's an analyzing, pros, cons list, logical sense. And it's, well, if you want to be here in this moment and where we're heading in the future, we're going to be body led beings. We are not the era of being head based humans. I feel is slowly churning into something else, morphing into something else. And I'm so here for that descent and journey. I'm so here for slower pace, softer, deeper. And this is what I'm inviting you to do, even in this space. Using this in real time will change your life. And I don't mean that lightly at all. I truly believe that sitting with the breath, sitting with the pull, the pulse, and the sensational experience of your body is something that only you can do. No one external can do that. You can get a guide, a mentor, a coach, a therapist, whatever you like to call it, to sit with you and to help you remember this journey for yourself. But it is an internal, slow paced, soft journey that you don't really grasp and understand until you're doing it. And as the world is becoming faster and faster, and with technology, with the rise of artificial intelligence, with the rise of information, this is going to be a foundational aspect of being a woman, of being a person in this life. You are going to have to get down to the uncomfortable, sensational experience, because there's going to be so much false shit thrown at us that you're truly going to have to sit in your body and be able to feel the texture of truth within yourself, right? The texture of truth is a visceral, felt sensation. And it is something that we're going to have to really work at. We're going to have to work that muscle and use that as we go along this wild ride of life, right? It doesn't have to be that serious, but also it is that serious. The great paradox of the universe, which I love to sit in all the time. Yeah, I'm going to invite you to sit with your body over the next week. And the two greatest questions I love to ask when I am tracking desires, obligations, or doing something because I feel like I have to or I should, those are two key words that I would love for you to sit with. Because as soon as you go into I have to do this or I should do this, you can feel that it's not an authentic pull. Usually it comes from conditioning. Usually it comes from a deep story that you have or a narrative within the body. And this is why I'm so very reluctant to listen to what people tell me to do. I am just like a rebel without a cause sometimes. But it really helped me to discern what is true, what is authentic, and what is not. And the two questions I'd love for you to ask as you're tracking this sensational experience this week is, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? And what do I want right now? Two of the biggest questions that when I ask people, they don't know. And we don't ask ourselves enough what it is that we truly need, what it is that we are yearning for, what we desire, and what we want, right? And allowing that desire, that holy hunger to let it move you and transform you and become like an alchemical experience within the body. How does that all land for you today? I don't want to give you a big, heady alchemical drop this week. I'm going to really sit here in this space and give you permission. If I'm your little permission slip, be the permission slip to slow down, to soften, to ask your body what it wants, what it desires. Ask your heart what it wants, what it desires. What is it needing? And then show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. Give yourself what it is you truly want and desire. Because as we talk about these moments of self abandoning, self betrayal, falling into dynamics that are unhealthy or toxic, or even relational dynamics with men, women, we have uncovered so much in this short amount of time. Reprogramming, repatterning, dissolving all of these aspects of self. And truly, the number one way that you can interrupt these patterns is to get curious with yourself. Get curious with your sensational experience. Pause, breathe, give yourself spaciousness, and then open up that dialogue, that inner dialogue. What do I need? Where am I contracting? Where am I holding? Where am I opening? What is truly coming up for me in these space? And they say in the psychology world that you have to ask yourself these questions 5 times to get deeper, right? Deeper than the surface level and layer. You ask once and then you ask the same question, what do I need? And then you ask yourself again. And I use this a lot in my spaces because it allows you to drop deeper. The first couple of times that you ask yourself, it might be ludicrous and it might be surface layer, and it might be a protection mechanism of getting deeper into the truth of what it is that you truly desire and want and need. So ask yourself a few times, listen to that answer. And the number one way you can show up for yourself, start trusting yourself, building that safety with yourself, stop abusing yourself by abandoning and betraying yourself, is to actually give yourself what you want and you need, and give yourself permission to. Give yourself full permission to give yourself what it is that you want and need. And this is how you prevent these patterns in real time. It is a practice. It is something that you have to fine tune, especially if you grew up in toxic dynamics, unhealthy dynamics, abusive dynamics. This is not something that was shown to you. So you actually have to be so gracious with yourself and so compassionate and accepting and loving, and go soft and slow and relearn, reparent yourself. We will go deeper into this within the next couple of months. The reparenting yourself and inner child work and these deeper somatic based listening to your body type sensations. But I just felt really in tune at this moment in time, like intuitively, to soften, to slow, to make it short, breathable, and integratable. Integratable. I'm going to say that word. I don't even care if that's a real word, because I have noticed at this moment in time, everyone knew February was going to be a really intense month cosmically. And so many things have been happening for a lot of people. Myself personally, I have held a lot of space for my closest friends, families, clients that are going through actually really absurd, tumultuous times. And I want to hold space for that. I've said I've got spacious. I'm feeling really good in my body and my being. I have space for people that are going through these absurd, crazy times. My dreams have been wild and vivid. And last night I dreamt of this, like, why I was in a madhouse and everyone was on LSD, and then we ate snakes and toads in a soup-like concoction. And that just is really telling to me about the times that we're currently in and the absolute need to go soft and slow. When the world is crazy and loud and intense, and there's a lot of turbulence going on in the collective, you really need to drop down to basics, drop down to simplicity, drop down into groundedness. And this is the potency of alchemy. right? It's not always purging. It's not always beautiful. It's not always, we don't have to dredge ourselves till there's nothing less left of us anymore. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're all not trying to be perfect beings. We're all trying to just be home within ourselves. And you can't be home within yourself if everything's so erratic and you keep thinking that you're wounded and broken and a project to fix. And that is the simple truth of today's Alchemy podcast and episode. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you slow down and soften and integrate and really breathe with yourself, be with yourself. Like, your body is so precious and deserves this life, deserves life force, deserves juice and goodness. And yeah, it's okay to soften. It's okay to play. It's okay. And especially in times like this, when the world is so chaotic, I can sometimes, even myself, feel this slight guilt for being okay or being in pleasure or joy. But it's what the world needs. And truly at this time, you can feel the revolution bubbling up as we speak. You know, it's been palpable over the last couple of years, but truly now there is this undeniable fire of rage that's burning through the world and the collective. And it's okay to feel that. It can be intense, but it is also okay to feel goodness and love, and this is what we're doing it for, right? Like, this is actually what we're doing here for. This is what we came for, you know, to be here for this time. It's actually truly a gift when you sit with it. And yeah, you don't have to fix yourself forever. Like, that is not the goal here. We get into this space of alchemy and moving through our relationship dynamics and our sexuality and our sensuality and our eros and all this deliciousness so that we could truly be free. And freedom to me is one of my core values. Being freedom is being able to be fully expressed moment to moment, uninhibited, and fully inhabiting your body. And that is the call for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always think that these are going to be soft and slow, and then I always go bigger than usual. And that's just who I am as a person. Before you go today, I'm going to do a little cute outro. If this episode stirred something within you, please don't just consume it. Allow it to move you. Allow it to integrate. And ask yourself how you want to show up differently from here forward and how you're showing up perfectly. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me at any moment. Subscribe if you wish. Don't miss what we are building here together. Share this with any woman who's ready to stop betraying herself. And tell me in the comments what hit you. I do read them all. I take my conversations very, very beautifully. They always land on my heart. If you want to go deeper with me, you can download my free Pleasure Codes ebook, and the link will be in the show notes. And this is the starting point for rewiring your relationship to your body and desire. If you're ready for the next level of this work, Honeypot is waiting for you. This is my self-led erotic embodiment journey. And if you want to be closer and work intimately, real mentorship, real transformation, you can apply to work with me one-on-one. My spaces are now open and all links will be below in the show notes. If this podcast, my teachings, my voice has supported you, stirred you, or shifted you, you can always buy me a coffee and keep this movement alive. I will see you on the next episode. Stay embodied, stay sovereign, stay feral and free, my loves. Bye.